I suppose generally, when we sleep is when the endocrine system, sex hormones, all of those kind of things are balanced. Some sex hormones are produced at night while we sleep. So testosterone, for example, we start to secrete testosterone in the third, fourth, and fifth cycle. So if we're missing out on sleep, we are in some way causing an imbalance in those hormones, whether it be testosterone or progesterone or estrogen. And we know that, I mean, from your work, you will obviously know the correct, the ratios there. And that's when we get difficulty if there's an imbalance, if you're estrogen dominant, or if you're not producing enough progesterone. And that's, I think both have a role in sleep in different ways. Now, the thing to look out for, now I'm no expert in the menstrual cycle, let me tell you, but through what I've learned about the interaction with sleep, is that what we have to be careful of here is the times when it's fine when we have high estrogen in, I think, day 1 to 14, right? Well, I suppose the first couple of days it's kind of low, so it's not that high. It's when we have the low levels of estrogen and the low levels of progesterone. Those transition periods, so you'll have 2 transition periods there, and that's where you will experience the most difficulty with sleep. If we look at estrogen, it impacts mood, it impacts our energy levels. It's tied up to your serotonin system. Okay, so serotonin is about, if we produce serotonin when we exercise, when we eat, we feel, I feel nice and calm. And it's to do with that nice kind of feeling of calm. Serotonin is about being in the now. Serotonin is a precursor to melatonin. So there's the relationship right there, right? We also get lots of serotonin from natural light. And that's why part of what I say is getting outside will boost serotonin levels, will influence the mood, will influence melatonin production, both directly because of the serotonin level and indirectly because part of getting outside in the morning actually sets a timer for melatonin release later in the day. So that's how we can see the serotonin system being influenced by light. In terms of progesterone, then, when our progesterone helps us with that sense of calmness, it's about relaxation as well. So we're fine through, I suppose days 16 to 22 or 24. And then it starts, I think after day 22, progesterone levels start to really drop off. And then that's when we really kind of feel it. Well, not we, but females, obviously. So those are the 2 periods to kind of look out for, is when the progesterone levels drops off towards the end, and in the middle, sort of day 14, we have those transitions. Those hormonal shifts disrupt sleep.
That's so helpful to hear that, Tom, because what I see in the work is that we experience these things, but a lot of women and people with menstrual cycles, we don't understand this, and just having that understanding and the clarity around what our hormones are doing helps us to feel like we're not crazy,
Yeah.
And that's just so good to know that, you can, and then that you can anticipate that as well when you start to track your cycle a bit, and
yes,
you then know, because I see a lot of people assuming that when they're ovulating they should be in a good mood and that their sleep should be good, but then they have that rocky day right after ovulation. Where
that's 100%. It makes sense from a scientific, from a hormonal, from a whatever you want to call it. It makes absolute sense. Those first couple of days will be rocky, and then when as levels then start to go up, then much better. And I've learned that it impacts it's called the HPA axis, but it impacts, essentially it impacts stress and threat detection. Okay, so if we have high or low levels, if we have low levels of estrogen, for example, we will avoid stress, we will avoid threats. If we have very high levels, we can be sensitive. it increases sensitivity to the HPA axis, which is
Okay.
really about threat.